Chiron and Aries. From my experience, the best definition for it is that Chiron has experienced affliction, rather that is caused from being half human, and that other ability for them to be other, which is like alien or whatever the case may be, animal, that gives them the ability to overcome those frailties, if you will, of being human. So whatever house or whatever sign it goes through, it experiences those challenges. However, they overcome it. They're supposed to use that energy as an example, not to actually help the person. So what I'm saying is, let's say you go through some sorrow and heartache as wherever Chiron was at, you are not supposed to so much help the person that needs help in that department. You're supposed to more lead by example of how you have healed, and show others how you have healed and how you maneuver because of what you've experienced in that house or that sign. It just left the sign of Pisces, and what this means is that Chiron and Aries is going to show you who has healed spiritually and who has not. All right, because it just left Pisces, deals with the spirit, right? Deals with the other world, deals with the subconscious a lot, deals with the intuition a lot. So people should have been healing spiritually, discarding, right, a 12th house energy, discarding what doesn't work for them or doesn't help their spirit. All right, and I say that to say this: the spirit and the soul are two different things. The soul is according to the sun, and it deals with your central nervous system and gives you consciousness. However, it does not give you discernment of the consciousness, or the discernment of the stimuli that is absorbed from your environment, and that deals more with the moon and deals more with your spirit. See, if your body drops, or if you leave here, you pass away, your solar system, your central nervous system, which is your DNA characteristics, is going to be passed down to the offspring, which is evolutionary psychology. Your spirit still remains, right? Hence the terminology ghost. Now, some of us see them when we're astral projecting. We see that they've reached other dimensions. Some of us see them in our dreams in other types of ways, that they're lost. They still haven't found their way or whatever. They haven't been brought over to the light. Some of us are more in tune with these spirits when we're awake, right? And some of us are more in tune with our own spirit. So let's look at it like this, right? Simple example, you know the difference between an angry drinker, or you hear the difference between an angry drinker and a social drinker. Now, the difference is that one of them has not healed spiritually, and that would be the angry drinker, right? They have a sip or two, and they're the ones who are starting trouble, or they say, oh, my father died, it's Father's Day, I'm punching the first person that I see in their face. These are people who haven't healed spiritually, and they end up getting beat up in the club or something like that. They end up peeing on themselves or throwing up in the bathroom. You get the idea, right? Etc., etc. Then you have your social drinker, right? So I'm not just totally down in alcohol or whatever the case may be either. If you drink, right? But the social drinker, on the other hand, can speak to you and not lose their composure, is pretty much what I'm saying. And because the reason why I'm using drinking is because it puts you in a tranced state, right? Which deals with your spirit. That's why when they say, a drunk person speaks a true mind, right? Because what it is you're more relaxed, you're in tune with your spirit. This is the real raw you that sometimes you may not express to its fullest because you're on edge, or because you're so full of being conscious that you're not realizing that your subconscious, your spirit, is actually the programmer of your consciousness. So the social drinker is able to communicate with you more effectively and show more composure about themselves, and still be able to, what you hear is people being able to carry their liquor, right? That comes from a repetition, which is another characteristic associated with the moon, not with the sun. Repetition, right? Based upon the way that they repetitively program their mind to be in a state of well-being or composure, even when they're in a lucid or entranced state. You understand what I'm talking about? So these are the people that you'll be able to identify as spiritually healed. Another comparison is like the sun is just blank consciousness. So the sun is like a blank page, right? You wake up, you turn on your eyes, and you see. But the input, the stimuli from the environment, that is based upon nurture, which deals with the moon, which what's going to feed you. This is where you develop preference as an individual, right? So you say, oh, the ego is, or the sun is more like, at the lowest level vibrating the id, right? It says, oh, he has pancakes, I want pancakes. What your moon tells you why you want pancakes. Like, oh, I like pancakes. I want pancakes because it tastes good. I like it. My mom used to make it for me when I was younger every Saturday morning, and I love it with the blueberries. Oh, You know what I mean? That's creature comforts. That is something of that derives from preference. This is something that was done over repetition, and this is what makes you you. This is what makes you have really more spiritual capability than the solar, the sun, the central nervous system can give you. The central nervous system is just the unit that helps you process all of this interaction or all of this absorption. Here's what you may experience with this transition. People trying to get you into their environment without considering your preference, without considering how you play into this unison and whether you prefer to be in that unison or not. All right, and comes from a need to psychologically control because they are still spiritually damaged. Okay, so they are in a sense afraid of moving on their own reconnaissance or being their own individual because they fear not being seen as strong enough. All right, they may have a history of controlling other people or even a history of being controlled by other people, and now they may feel more advanced or more capable, so this is why they're exerting this type of power. However, they're in the wrong time loop because they should be in the time loop of healing from that type of situation, right? Pisces is the sign of whole, the package, the completion, right? So how are you not completed as a self, as a spiritual individual, to where now we're reaching into the Chiron entering Aries, which deals with the individual? You should be prepared to deal with the individual psyche, which is yourself first, and then lead by example. Aries leading. So this is what's not going to be able to happen. People are not going to be able to get away with vague statements. Like, you have to be direct, as Aries suggests. Headstrong and direct. See, people who came out of this spiritually healed, they're not going to let the vagueness fly. They're going to address it directly. Just say it. You know what I mean? This is the time to just say it. Put all of the feelings of what might happen if you do say it, just put all of that to the side and say it, because this will help you heal. Now, those who are not healed will learn from the people who are healed, because they're going to come out and say it. They're going to say, what do you mean? They're going to question you. Like, what do you, oh, I don't understand. Can you say that in a way that I can understand? These are the people who are going to be spiritually healed, because they want to understand exactly what it is you're saying, so they don't feel like no psychological game is being played on them. However, if the person who is not spiritually healed continues to perpetuate this type of mind frame that signals that they are trying to coerce without being revealed, and you as a healed spiritual person, do not feel guilty from detaching from these type of people, because they're trying to create psychological drama. And what you have learned from just coming out of Chiron and Pisces is that you have spiritually healed to carry on war, which Chiron is in the house of Aries, to be a warlike creature, because we do know that some warfare is psychological. Now, what I'm saying may scare you, and if it does, so be it, right? This gives you even more inclination to prepare yourself to engage or be involved, because some of the people who are not healed, they have not practiced repetition of being complete as a whole, you know, looking at all of their experiences in isolation in the 12th house of Pisces and saying, you know what, this is what I can do without, this is what I need more of, and I won't try to align myself with people who are not on that same wavelength. You know, they have not healed if they have not been able to make those decisions on their own. If they're still trying to force or coerce situations that do not benefit both parties involved, from a leadership standpoint, basically stating you're an individual, I'm an individual, and this is how we can combine, then they still need some healing to do. Now, you may ask, well, how do you collaborate then, right? The answer that I have for that is the power of suggestion, right? So it's more like, you know, suggest to a person that you observe their qualities, their capabilities first, right? And then you suggest to them, well, I seen you do this, that, and the third. Well, maybe you can do this, that, and the third with me, because I do X, Y, and Z, which is complementary to what you do. So what it does is it shows a lot of respect for self, the person who is suggesting, and for the other individual, because you're being considerate of where they stand in the situation, right? But those who are still like, oh, look, I got 1,000 acres and I got 10 Playboy bunnies at the mansion, you need to come work with me because I'm evidently more better than the rest of your friends or your options. Then these are the type of people, as I said before, still psychologically, spiritually damaged, and they need to go to spiritual school. You can practice freedom, both freedom and responsibility, without being so experiential and using rationale. So for those who are more experiential, so what I mean by experiential is more like, oh, okay, let's say you post something online, right? Oh, you post your butt cheeks on a sink, and you're just like, doing it for no reason. Like, I don't want to talk to you now. If you're a model and you're an Instagram model, then I want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not modeling, like, where's the social relevance? What are you doing that for? Are you an entertainer? What company you work for? Is it your own company? Well, let us know. Put that in a profile link. Like, let us know. If I don't see any of that, I don't want to get involved with you. Like, for what? For why? What are you doing? Anyway, okay. Now, Uranus is also moving into Taurus, right? So this means it deals with wiring, right? And it's attached to personal value, which means that it will actually encompass the physical body as well, because Taurus is an earth sign, and whether people forget it or not, your birth certificate is a documentation that states you're a tangible asset on earth. Okay, so with Uranus moving here, how is your wiring? Are you hydrating? How is your blood circulation? Do you need blood thinners? Are you eating too greasy? Are you eating foods that are too greasy to where it's clogging your capillaries and therefore preventing the flow of nutrients? And again, if I'm scaring you, so be it, right? Also deals with the vocal cords, right? Second house, Taurus deals with the throat. So what are you saying? Vocal cords, right? Wiring, cords. What is coming from your mouth? How does it sound? Is it sexy? I'm joking, but I'm not joking. But because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Again, so using the power of suggestion over the power of command or demand, wagging your finger. You should do this because, and if you don't do it or else, then look, you're really doing a disservice to where the astrological placements are right now. So people who are healed, pay attention to what I'm saying. There are some people out there who will get stronger because you engage with them in their folly, in their own pain, in their own hurt, right? So do not feel guilty. This is another thing. Uranus deals with tech. Do not feel guilty because someone determines that a text is not as valuable as a face-to-face conversation or a face-to-face hug, all right? Because you didn't drive 2 hours just to say the same thing to their face that you was going to say in a text, all right? Again, social relevance. How much impact is it going to have if I drive 2 hours and show up? How much are we going to get done if I do this, that, and the third? You know, but if it's something that can be merely explained over text, you know, don't let a person make you feel guilty about not corresponding or giving into the way that they want to interact. Like I said before, people will try to draw you into their environments with a disregard of how you fit into that situation or what your preference is, right? So don't feel guilty for this. Like, you have to show them that you are a person, an individual, and that they should be one too. It can't be handled through text. You know, there's a lot of, you know, talk going around, and you know, that's why you only do it for the gram and this, that, and the third. Look, it's an insult to Tesla. It's an insult to the engineers who provided this technology for us for convenience, right? It's an insult to intelligence for us to disregard this technological capability that creates convenience because people are not aligning well with each other anymore. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's more like, okay, we used to live in the same neighborhood, so it was easier for us to communicate with each other based upon whatever we wanted to say. We had to put up with it because we lived there. But no, now people are moving because rents are changing and they want a higher quality of life. So, okay, I'll stay in touch with you over Facebook because, you know, you're still my peoples. But if, you know, some people could change on you and they could start saying, oh, you don't come to the hood no more and stuff like that, you know, you only do it for the gram, you know what I'm saying? And my thing is this: we have been given the ability to take the press into our own hands without relying on the press. We've been given the ability to take cinema into our own hands without relying on California. So take advantage of this. This is not something that is supposed to be a detriment. It's something that is supposed to help you. So if you're doing it for the gram, fine, do it for the gram. What are you selling? I might buy it. Like, sell me. You understand what I'm talking about? But don't let people draw you out of your character or what you have grown to be, that you're developing. Remember, programming, subconsciously programming your conscious, your son, to get more, to get more for your moon, for your creature comforts, for your repetition, right? Bills come every month, right? Don't let someone take you out of that because they feel left out or they feel like you're leaving them behind or whatever the case may be. Especially in this time, you have to lead by example, and it's not going to be just so simple at first because Chiron just entered Aries. So you're actually learning how to heal as an individual and learning how to heal as a leader and be more confident in that aspect. However, now is the time to do so, and because Aries is such a solo energy, a lot of this is going to be to deal with self, okay? I'll be back soon enough to update you guys with more stuff. I'm out.